Good evening, you're watching 7 at 7, the only news bulletin where we curate the day's top 7 stories for our viewers. Alright, our top story has to be Ladakh because it is that one image that has inspired both shock and awe amongst all, even in China. The Prime Minister's visit to Nimu in Ladakh, where he went, galvanized our forces, the army there, went to the hospital, spoke directly to the men fighting on the front lines. This is how it panned out.
भारत माता की जय। आप माँ भारती की ढाल बन करके उसकी रक्षा करते हैं, उसका मुकाबला पूरे विश्व में कोई नहीं कर सकता है।
PM Narendra Modi's sharpest message to Xi Jinping's China. India is ready. The nation will not flinch from aggression.
हम वो लोग हैं जो बांसुरी धारी कृष्ण की पूजा करते हैं, तो हम वही लोग हैं जो सुदर्शन चक्रधारी कृष्ण को भी आदर्श मान करके चलते हैं।
In a supercharged speech filled with emotion and praise, the Prime Minister hailed the valor of India's forces in Ladakh.
आपकी शौर्य गाथाएं घर घर में गूंज रही है और भारत माता के दुश्मनों ने आपकी फायर हुई देखी है और आपकी फ्यूरी भी।
While the Prime Minister didn't mention China once during his 26-minute speech, the message to Beijing was loud and clear, especially after the country was clueless about the Prime Minister's visit to Ladakh.
विस्तारवाद का युग समाप्त हो चुका है। ये युग विकासवाद का है। विकासवाद के लिए अवसर है और विकासवाद ही भविष्य का आधार भी है।
Addressing the troops of 14th Corps, the Prime Minister has also assured India that it's quite capable of handling China.
14 कोर की जांबाजी के किस्से तो हर तरफ है। दुनिया ने आपका अदम्य साहस देखा है, जाना है। आपकी शौर्य गाथाएं घर घर में गूंज रही है।
The Prime Minister visited an operational area in Ladakh, just west of Leh. The 69-year-old defied physical odds when he landed at Kushok Bakula Rinpoche Airport at Leh at 11,000 feet with rarefied atmosphere. Accompanied by Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and Army Chief General M.M. Naravane, the Prime Minister also met the 18 soldiers injured in the Galwan clash at the Leh Military Hospital. In the wake of heightened tensions at the border, Prime Minister Modi's visit has galvanized troops, flexed Indian muscle and sent out an unmistakable message to China that it has only two options: either restore status quo ante or accept the inevitable consequences of this escalation. With Abhishek Bhalla in Leh, Bureau Report, India Today.
भारत माता की जय।
All right, I want to directly cut across to our defense correspondent, Abhishek Bhalla, who's joining us from Leh Ladakh. I also have with me a senior executive editor, Gaurav Sawant, to break down the ramifications of this visit, which I said earlier on inspired both shock and awe. Abhishek, you were there. You know, just take us through how it all happened, because today was supposed to be the day that the defense minister was to visit our forward posts in Ladakh. That visit was cancelled. Nobody quite knew till the Prime Minister landed. Just take us through where all did he go, what all did he do today? All right, I seem to be having a bit of a video connect problem with Abhishek. We're going to rectify that. But I want to pose that same question to Gaurav. You know, Gaurav, nobody really knew that the Prime Minister was going to pay a visit to our forward posts in Ladakh. The visuals the language that he used, what he said. For coming in from the army, I know that it's something that totally galvanizes not just the men on the front line, but men all across fighting for the country.
Preeti, you're absolutely right when you say this was the Prime Minister's shock and awe campaign. We saw the fire and fury in Ladakh. The Prime Minister drew the red lines for China. The Prime Minister also inspired the nation. He inspired the army, no doubt. The army anyway is extremely inspired by the supreme sacrifice of those 20 braves who've actually changed the dynamics of India's relationship with China, perhaps forever, when they made the supreme sacrifice of their lives and pushed the Chinese back at Galwan. Now the nation is galvanized to ensure, like Colonel Santosh Babu's brave wife, she said that don't let those sacrifices go in vain, and the Chinese must be taught a lesson. So the Prime Minister drew those red lines in Ladakh when he very clearly said India has never buckled, India will not buckle, and that we will protect every inch of our territory like our braves have. He said we have that country that worships the Bansuri bajane wale Sudarshan, which is Bhagwan Krishna, and the Chakradhari, Sudarshan Chakradhari Krishna. So there's a very, very subtle yet firm message from the Prime Minister that we want peace, but we are not afraid of using force to protect our integrity, the territorial integrity. So now the ball is in China's court. Will we see China restore status quo ante and go beyond finger 8 and, ultimately de-induct its troops from all the areas where they brought their troops from the exercise area? Or do we see a prolonged deployment on both sides, and then ultimately status quo ante has to be restored? India is very clear. There will be no other halfway house that's acceptable to our country,
right.
Preeti.
What is interesting, Gaurav, and we'll come to that point later, when he used the terminology that the age of expansion is over and it's the age of development. We'll talk a bit about that because that was a very clear message to China. But having said that, our colleague Abhishek Bhalla is joining us from Leh. Abhishek, like we were talking about earlier, how this was the shock and awe moment for the Prime Minister. Nobody quite knew he was going to be visiting. It was a day which was supposed to be of the Defence Minister. He was supposed to come to Ladakh. His visit gets cancelled, and then you see visuals of the Prime Minister landing at Ladakh, meeting the troops, talking directly to the men in uniform, going to the hospital where our braves, who fought in the Galwan Valley are injured. How has it been received? Clearly, there seems to be, a great momentum. It was already there ever since the Galwan Valley clash. Take us through these proceedings.
First of all, Preeti, it was a big surprise for everybody. I know that there was a confirmation last evening that Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat will be visiting Leh and will also be interacting with troops and some of the field commanders. But this morning at around 9 o'clock, there were certain murmurs here that a high-level VVIP visit is on. And that's when, everybody tried to find out what's happening. And within half an hour or 45 minutes, it was confirmed that the Prime Minister had already landed. He had already had a brief meeting with the Corps Commander as well as with the Northern Army Commander. And that's when he flew straight to Nemo, to the brigade headquarters. And he spent nearly 2 hours not just addressing the troops, but also interacting with them at a very personal level. And one thing is very clear from here onwards, Preeti, that it's a clear message, signal, not just to the troops on the ground, not just to the military, but also reassurance to the entire country and international observers vis-a-vis the India-China tussle, that in case China wants to aggravate things and there is further military escalation, the Indian Army is well prepared. And that's exactly the brief that was given to him by the commanders here, who are responsible for operational as well as tactical decisions on how prepared India is. That's very important. And what are the activities on the Chinese side amid all this talk of disengagement in dialogue that's been happening over the last 1 month now.
All right, gentlemen, stay on with me. Abhishek, you quite did not know this, but we just had tremors here in the National Capital Region. An earthquake in terms of tremors have been witnessed in the national capital region. That's the latest news break that is coming in right now. We're going to try and get in more information. The only point that we know is that the epicenter has been the NCR region. That's what we do know. It's an earthquake which happened just about 10 minutes ago. Mild tremors is what we are getting in, have been witnessed. If you live around the NCR region, you know what I'm talking about. You possibly might have felt them. The exact epicenter, nobody quite knows yet. That's information that is just coming in. We're going to continue to give that information out. But what we do know, and we can confirm, a mild earthquake in terms of tremors were witnessed in the national capital region. And just to put that in perspective, it's one of many. We've seen a number of tremors being witnessed over the course of the last 2-3 weeks around the NCR region, with back-to-back mild tremors or a mild earthquake being witnessed with the epicenter of Rohtak in Haryana. With that, let's move on and get back to the news that we are tracking very closely, and that is coming in from Ladakh. It's a day where, if you look at just news, it belongs to the Ladakh region, primarily as well driven by the Prime Minister's visit, which was loaded with symbolism, with what not just he said, talking directly to the Indian army, the troops who fought the Galwan battle or the Galwan skirmish, the face-off there. He went on to visit the injured of the Galwan face-off in the hospital, boosted their morale, spoke directly to the soldiers there, gave also a very strong message to China. So like I said, loaded on symbolism, and also expected was the politics around it.
India woke up to images of Prime Minister Modi emerging from a Mi-17 chopper at one of the forward locations in Nimu, Ladakh at 7 a.m.
Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai!
Accompanied by Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and Army Chief General M.M. Naravane. Modi caught everyone by surprise by landing in Ladakh amid one of the gravest military face-offs with China. Sitting inside a tent, clad in an army fatigues jacket, Modi was briefed by commanders of the ground situation along the line of actual control. The Prime Minister was given a lowdown of every post along the LAC where Indian and Chinese troops have been locked in an intense standoff.
The Prime Minister spent about 2 hours with troops, and this came as a huge morale booster for these soldiers who are facing Chinese aggression for the last 2 months. He was also given a detailed brief by military commanders on the current ground situation and what could be India's response if there is an escalation.
Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai!
Modi's closely guarded visit was full of symbolism. It was to show solidarity with the soldiers guarding a hostile terrain. More importantly, it was an occasion to tell Beijing that its attempt at expansionism would not be tolerated.
दुनिया की किसी भी ताकत के सामने न कभी झुके हैं न कभी झुकेंगे। और ये बात मैं बोल पा रहा हूं आप जैसे वीर पराक्रमी साथियों के कारण।
China was clearly stunned and stumped at the Prime Minister's top-secret Ladakh trip.
India and China are in communication and negotiations on lowering the temperature through military and diplomatic channels. So no party should engage in any action that may escalate the tension at this point.
This is not the first time that Modi has gone to the front lines to boost the morale of forces. In the past, he has celebrated Holi and Diwali with the men in remote outposts.
Peace comes from a position of strength, not weakness. By visiting Ladakh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has drawn the red line India will not cede any territory. India will not buckle an inch. For the soldiers, it's a great morale booster. For China, the writing is on the wall. Status quo ante has to be restored. With Abhishek Bhalla in Leh and cameraman Kripal Singh in Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
All right, so one thing is for sure, that what happened at Galwan Valley has also provided a lot of fodder for politics back home. The visit of the Prime Minister only added to that when the Prime Minister went to Ladakh today, with direct questions being asked by Rahul Gandhi and the Congress on to come clean and more transparency over Chinese incursion in Indian territory. Of course, a befitting reply was given back by the BJP as well. But like I said, on the sidelines of it, politics went on as usual.
भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय। भारत माता की जय।
18 days after the Galwan standoff, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sent out the strongest message to China so far.
लेह लद्दाख से लेकर करगिल और सियाचिन तक, रेजांगला की बर्फीली चोटियां से लेकर गलवान घाटी के ठंडे पानी की धारा तक भारतीय सैनिकों के पराक्रम की गवाही देते हैं।
The Ladakh visit, however, has triggered a massive political war.
भारत माता की वंदे।
In a tweet, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi accused Prime Minister Modi of not coming clean on Chinese incursions. He tweeted a video of people from Ladakh alleging intrusion.
This is the deadliest clash in nearly 50 years.
आप सब लोगों को पता है, हमारी जमीनें हमसे जबरदस्ती छीना जा रहा है।
BJP's Sambit Patra countered Rahul Gandhi with another video claiming that the Congress MP passed off Congress workers as locals. Congress leaders were quick to follow Rahul's cue. Manish Tiwari said Indira Gandhi sliced Pakistan into two after her Leh visit. Now the nation awaits Prime Minister Modi's action. The BJP hit back at Congress.
It's just not the soldiers who have been praised and the brave soldiers, the martyrs have been remembered. It's also a straight message to China that it's the Prime Minister of India who has said that हमारे शहीदों का बलिदान व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा. And I'm sure this is what the Prime Minister meant there.
Is the border the right place for making large pronouncements of policy? That's something that the government should consider. As far as our brave men are concerned, they will do what is the best for the country.
The Congress questioned the need for an unannounced visit.
He's always believed in the concept of surprising. Chinese intruders must be evicted, lock, and barrel from the occupied land of our country.
The party also targeted the Prime Minister for not naming China in his address to the soldiers.
प्रधानमंत्री किसको मैसेज दे रहे हैं? नाम तो उन्होंने चीन का नहीं लिया है। जिस तरह पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ लंबी बातें करते हैं प्रधानमंत्री, चीन का नाम लेने से क्यों घबराते हैं?
Since the India-China standoff started about 2 months back, government has been put under the dock by the opposition seeking answers. The opposition has been saying that the government has not given out exact details of what the situation on the line of actual control is. And once again, as the Prime Minister made a surprise visit to Ladakh, politics over his visit has started again. With camera person Satya, Abhishek Bhalla in Leh for India Today.
All right, I'm going to just shift focus to the other very big story that we are tracking. And if we are talking about shock and awe, if the Prime Minister's visit to Ladakh was a shock and awe moment there, then this news has also generated exactly the same response. And that is Bharat Biotech Limited, a company, has now said along with ICMR that we might just have a vaccine for COVID-19 as early as, mind you, as early as August 15th. Now, this vaccine being developed by Bharat Biotech, Covaxin, is an indigenous COVID-19 vaccine being developed in partnership with the Indian Council of Medical Research, and Bharat Biotech could be released as early as next month compared to their earlier target of December this year. A lot of questions are being asked. Usually trials for vaccines take years. SARS itself took over 3 years. But both institutions, which is the ICMR and Bharat Biotech, have come together to step up efforts and launch the vaccine after completion of clinical trials. In a statement released by the ICMR, this is one of the top priority projects which is being monitored at the topmost level of the government. ICMR has also directed concerned institutions to fast-track all approvals related to the initiation of clinical trials. All right, so this is huge because if you look internationally, there's been a race for across countries, across pharma firms to come up with a COVID-19 vaccine. A lot of questions right now being raised of the ICMR that how is it possible that just within a few days, within a month, you're going to come up with a vaccine in India. More information awaited by the ICMR, but it's a story you're going to keep a very, very keen eye on. That's it. That's the latest coming in at 7. I'll see you on the other side on In Depth after a very quick break. To stay with us. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.